Let's get this party started.
Started. Oh my goodness. It
We
seems
are
like,
officially live on
yes.
the YouTubes. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. And I
Welcome
know we don't
in.
have anybody actually watching right now, I don't think. I don't know for sure, but
Mhm.
um at least we are there and it's recording and we
Yes.
can cut this into little segments
Right.
later with all that good stuff. So I am loving it. Welcome everyone. This is AI is not just another thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Lakeisha Brooks and myself, Larissa Black. Welcome, welcome. So,
Welcome.
Lakeisha, let's tell the people of YouTube
Oh my gosh.
how you came up with the name.
Well, I almost feel like it was 2025. I think we were on like Thanksgiving break, like right before then.
Really good.
And I think you post a lot. So I always thank you for keeping it in the forefront, keeping it fresh, so people know
Thank
that it's
you.
something we need to be paying attention to. But you have written an article for, was it Ed Weekly? Education Weekly?
It might have, well, I'm trying to think, was it that or was it I had done something for Edutopia at one point.
That was it.
All these things kind of
Yes.
like you go
Well, she's
together. I'm like,
super
what
busy.
did I do when? I keep myself
So
busy, right? We all do.
so then when you think about, teachers, we wake up in the middle of the night, I'm going through and I'm looking through stuff, and I really looked at just all the things that are coming across, and I read your article and I was like, that's why people need to know that AI is not just another thing.
Yeah.
Like it is very much something in the forefront that we need to be paying attention to. We're already
Mhm.
using it. We might not understand how it's going to affect education. We just know in the back of our mind it will. So I just reached out to you on LinkedIn and we kind of shared with Dr. Fonz. Manny, connected us probably like in
Mhm.
2022, 2023.
Yeah, I think it was earlier on because we are both virtual teachers, so we both use Edpuzzle a good amount.
Right. And so he was like, I think you guys, should connect. And so I think it was around ISTE time. So, we just had a conversation there. So when I reached out to you, I was like, what do you think about having a podcast and really just having those conversations about how ed tech, AI, all those things, just kind of bringing it together because you didn't really hear a lot about. Like, I think since we've started, there have been a lot of people who are on the, who are joining the podcast. What do I call it? Scene?
Yes,
That's what,
or ecosystem, whatever you want to
right.
call it.
And
As a
so,
science teacher, I have to call everything an ecosystem.
right. But even with that, I feel like the voices are valuable
Yeah.
because it is so important that we are having the discourse, we're having the conversations about it and learning from each other. So I think that's really important. So that's how I just was like, it's not just another thing. Like I was probably sitting there going, is that the name that we want to use?
It's
She's Larissa, I'm Lakeisha. Like, can
I
we
know.
do, L squared? Could we do, because I teach math. So it's like she teaches science. So all the things, but I think just having that name alone just
Mhm.
really kind of encompasses everything that we've talked about and some of the conversations that we've had, not just, between you and I, but with other people who are in the ecosystem. Great word.
Definitely. I love
Yes.
it. Definitely.
Go
And I
ahead.
think it's so important to hear from
Hmm.
people who are on the forefront, those
Right.
people who are in the classrooms, who are doing the virtual live lessons, who are working directly with kids. What are we seeing, right? And it's
Hmm.
changing over time, year to year. I mean, I think back to when ChatGPT first came out, November 2022, and now we're in 2026, and it has been a faster evolution of technology than I've ever seen. And I was born in the 80s. So I've seen a lot of different technology throughout the years, right?
I'm turning my head a little bit, Larissa, because as
So,
you were saying, how it's changed, and I was born
mhm.
in the 70s.
Hey, that's okay. I'm very close to the 70s.
And so when I think about, and I think it was probably my sixth grade classroom,
Mhm.
we had like those first Apple computers, those Macs that
Yes.
were like huge and they were word processors. They weren't even, connected to anything, but it was just somewhere for you to do different things.
Yeah.
And so fast forward, like you're saying, from November 2022
Yeah.
until now, how much the iteration or the change has come based on having access to something that can run day and night,
Yes.
right? And to come up with answers to problems that people
Mhm.
have or to create or do
Mhm.
different things. So you're absolutely right.
Definitely, definitely.
Absolutely.
And we've been teaching long enough also to
Right.
have seen
Mm-hmm.
the progression of technology
Mm-hmm.
integration
Mm-hmm.
within classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think that you and I are like just at the right time. Like we are aligned very well, and
Yes, absolutely.
we've seen the things in the past. We're
Right.
experiencing the present of the AI evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we both were very fortunate enough to attend conferences this past summer, right?
Right. I'll let you go first because I didn't get to attend the conference that you got to go to, but I'm super
Yes.
excited to hear about all the things.
Well, your conference looked amazing too, and I'm sure like that's
Mhm.
I wanted to kind of talk about the similarities and the differences
Right,
for sure.
absolutely.
So for ISTE, I got to attend ISTE ASCD. That's what it used to be called. And one of the big announcements during the conference was that it is now ISTE. But the T is different. So ISTE plus ASCD,
I
ED,
always
whatever
take
it was,
notes.
now it's still ISTE, but the
Hmm.
T is different. So it used to be the International Society of Technology and Education. Now they changed that technology T into a transformational T. Like the T
Oh.
is for transformational. I hope I got that right. I feel like I did. Let me double check that I
Oh
don't
yeah, I can pull
got
up my
that
device
right
and check
because
real
I'm
quick.
pretty sure transforming, yeah, transfer. I said transformational, but it's transforming education.
Oh, okay, copy.
So again, I had always called it ISTE because I had never done the ASCD conferences in the past.
Hmm.
So I wasn't as familiar with that, but I was much more familiar with ISTE. So I'm glad they didn't change the name, like the
Right,
actual acronym.
right.
That makes things a
They
little,
put a lot of work into building that program. So
yes,
it's like
they
it
did.
kind of goes hand in hand, I feel like. And transformation because it is, it's changing all the time, which we talked about a little bit
Yeah.
earlier. So keep going, keep going.
Yeah,
So
so
excited.
they made it a very specific point to
Hmm.
say we're not changing the name because is an ed tech backlash right now.
Hmm.
And we've seen that ever since.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've read the book, The Anxious Generation. It came out a few years ago, I feel.
Right.
But now that everyone has read it and it's being quoted over and over again, it seems like there's a lot of backlash about using ed tech in the classroom.
Hmm.
Well, you and I, we have to use technology to be able to get to teach our
Hmm.
students because we are
Right.
virtual teachers, right?
Right.
So that ed tech backlash doesn't impact us as much, but I also do believe that there's a lot of hands-on, tangible things that you can do at home when you're
Hmm.
learning from home in a virtual way as well, of course, especially with science, right? And math. I don't want to think that math is not tangible. It certainly is. There's
Right.
lots of manipulatives that students can use at home.
Hmm.
So they made it a point that this is not why we're changing the name. We decided to change the name before all of this pushback had
Hmm.
happened in the
Hmm.
last, I don't know, 6 months maybe.
Hmm.
Um, One thing I noticed though was the majority of sessions that I attended or that were listed, I would say 80% had to do with some kind of AI. Not that AI was the main focus, but it
Hmm.
was you know, creating
Hmm.
science labs by using AI
Hmm.
or, use it. I mean, there were so many different options.
Hmm.
It's hard to come up with a list without it being in front of me. But all of
Hmm.
them had that like little asterisk of with AI, with AI.
Right.
Now,
Hmm.
1 year ago, I would say it was under 50% that
Hmm.
people were presenting about AI specifically in the classroom. Now it's just huge. It's huge, right? Because it is affecting, just like you and I had talked about, it
Hmm.
is affecting and will continue to affect our careers, the students' lives, and we need to figure out the best ways to integrate it that are going to be helpful and enhance learning rather than hurtful and taking away learning. And we
Hmm.
know it can do
Hmm.
it can do both.
Right. Absolutely.
Just like any tool, you can use it for good, you can
Hmm.
use it for evil. Not that not that like cheating is evil, but it's not a good option, right? It's
Right.
not what we
Hmm.
want our students to be doing.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of something I noticed at ISTE was like that transition to a lot of very heavy based AI. My session that I did though wasn't even about AI, which I know a lot of people were like, wait, your business is called TeachWise AI.
Right.
How are you not talking about AI? And I just kind of felt like I knew it was going to be inundated this year with
Hmm.
everything AI. And one of the questions I get a lot from my coworkers and everyone like that, they're like, how is it that you know so many people that are in this space in the AI
Hmm.
and ed tech world
Hmm.
and you understand the integration of AI at a deeper level? And I was like, honestly, it's social media. I know that's
Yep,
crazy, but
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
It's
And I think
social
we
media.
talked about that too when
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm moving my camera. When
you're
we
good.
talked to Dr. Oz, it's like the community of
Yeah.
people that I'm like from connecting with one person that connects
Yeah.
to another person, and then you follow the
Mhm.
next person. And then,
Yeah.
so you become connected just by social media and building those relationships with people.
Yeah, and you learn so
Mm.
much from them.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And of course, we've all been through the social media where if what they're saying doesn't align with your values, then you're not going to follow them. And
Right. Hmm.
you just don't follow them.
Hmm.
You don't comment or like or anything like that because that's going
Hmm.
to set up your algorithm to be more negative. You want that positive algorithm and learning from people
Absolutely.
who you trust and align with your values. So that was what my session was about, how to really focus on intentionally getting your algorithm to teach you what is up and coming and the next
That's really
the
good.
right? Like it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Now, what I would love to do at some point is make it so we have like mini social media in our own school type of thing where we have complete control over it and you can watch what the other teachers are doing and I think that would
Mhm.
be much more doable in a virtual world like
Right.
what we are
Hmm.
doing. But I always think about that like it would be nice to see little glimpses of other teachers sessions, you know, them teaching and tips and tricks and things like that
Hmm.
that we're all so busy teaching our own things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we certainly don't have a whole hour to go into somebody else's room, right?
Right.
But if you get little snippets, I feel like that would be a thing in the future. So maybe I'll eventually take that
Hmm.
idea and run with it once I
Hmm.
have some time, which you know it's
Time.
hardly
What is that?
time. Time. We're
Hmm.
already
Hmm.
back to school. How is this
I know.
possible?
Absolutely. We went back to school this week. And so it's been, you have your required task and
Yes.
then you have your setting up your room, and our rooms look different. And so I feel like the pressure that I have as a virtual teacher is always just, what can I do differently? Like, how can I engage in a way that's going to um, connect kids back to curriculum, because they struggle a lot in the virtual setting with the tasks that they have to learn, the standards, the things that they
Yeah.
have to know for their grade level. They're out of the classroom. And so I think they have that, they feel, oh, that release, like I don't have to worry about getting up in the morning, catching
Yeah.
the bus,
Hmm.
putting my clothes on, all those things. But then you still have to make room to learn.
Yes.
So I was talking to a teacher today and they were like, oh, are you all ready to go? Are you? And I was like, I still, after this is my 18th year and
Hmm.
my 7th year virtual, that I still feel like a new teacher and I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do differently.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even with the structures that you have, you're just like, okay, is there something I can do that's going to make a difference?
Yeah.
And, connecting with that kid who, might, be struggling or might be uncertain, how can I, encourage them to come to meetings and things like that? And AI is, actually a part of that.
Yeah. It definitely is. It definitely is. It helps
Hmm.
us to save time with
Mm-hmm.
those administrative tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lesson planning,
Mm.
assessment creation, all of those things. And if
Right.
any teacher is still not sure where to even start because it does
Right.
feel so overwhelming,
Mm-hmm.
there you go. Start with just an assessment. Make like a 10-question quiz and see how that goes. And always read through it and make sure there's no
Yes. Take the
hallucinations.
test for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Take the test yourself and be like, that's not right.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I had it one year where I don't know why it did this, but every answer was B. I was like, now that's almost like evil tricky. Like your
Yeah.
kids are like, wait, is this B again? Is this B again?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's one of those things where you got to test out, you got to play with it,
Right.
and really be able to experience it to know what to check for and what to look out for
Mm-hmm.
after you send it out, right?
Right.
Or
Absolutely.
actually before you send it out, right? Before
Right.
you send it to students.
Right. Exactly. So
So
it's
tell me about your conference that you attended. What were the themes there? What were some things that might have been different than what you expected or what you expected?
Well, in our union, we have so United Teachers of Wichita. We are a part of NEA and we have KNEA, and then we also are part of the American Federation of Teachers. So
Hmm.
through the American Federation of Teachers, they had a common sense, they have, and I've got my little stuff right here because I want to make sure I say it correctly.
I
And so
understand.
as I'm talking about it, this is things that you can find on the internet. So they have a National Academy for AI Instruction, and they work with Anthropic, they work with OpenAI, they work with Microsoft. And so last year I had an opportunity to present with Microsoft at their conference about accessibility tools using Teams, through
Yeah.
Teams with Microsoft. And so this year they actually created a train the trainer.
Oh, nice.
So when we went through, it's the common sense guardrails for using advanced technology in schools. So you are able to find this information online, and through AFT, they have a set of guardrails that they have set up and have sent to each of the large language models, like telling them, okay, these are things, that when we talk about kids, when we talk about teachers using AI in the classroom
Mhm.
responsibly, these are the things that we want,
I love that.
that you to consider before we will even sign off on them. So maximizing safety and privacy, of course,
Yes.
promoting human interaction and individuality. Core value 3, empowering educators to make educational decisions.
Yes, please. That should always be in there, right?
Right. And then so advanced equity and fairness. Number 4,
Yep.
advanced democracy.
Ooh.
So just thinking about that, filtering and access information, identifying misinformation and disinformation, teach students to formulate reasoned judgments, build media literacy and ethical judgment. And then 6 is teach digital citizenship and
Mhm.
balance. And let's see, number 7, empower students to be responsible and innovative. 8 is to foster collaborative responsibility, among all stakeholders. And so that is the thing that I think people don't realize. We have opinions about it,
Mhm.
but we aren't part of the conversation. And I feel like one of the things when we talked to Dr. Oz, we kind of pulled that out. I was like, Larissa, in her capacity, like she has a voice, she can share this information. But I was like, after going here, I was like, really, we all have a voice. We all are stakeholders. When we think about, you hear about data centers, you hear all, the
Mhm.
horror stories that, and
Yeah.
it's media, it's just how we spin it and how we make it look.
Mhm.
But that last part, or the last core value, is to ensure environmental stability or sustainability in technology use. So all of those guardrails are kind of set up to give teachers the information so that they really are a part of these conversations. It's not just
Another thing.
yeah, it's not just another thing, but when you have people that are so far removed from the educational space
Yeah.
making the decisions based on how it should be in the classroom, and we've had that conversation about where you are,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, that's not right. We are stakeholders, whether we are teachers
Are.
or whether we're parents. those are different things that are in our communities that we need to voice and talk about and to educate, not just
Yeah,
our students, but also our communities.
definitely,
So
definitely.
just
It's
going
a
through
it's
that.
a all in. It's a team effort, and
Hmm.
that's what I mean. That's what school should be, right? It should be a
Right.
team effort in
Hmm.
general, and AI is a part of school now, whether we like the idea or not.
Absolutely. So just going through that and just learning that information is it like kind of galvanized or maybe like felt like okay, we are doing the right thing, we are in the right space, we are having the right conversations, but these conversations aren't just ours.
No.
These are conversations that everyone should be having and that they should really talk about it, whether they're talking to their children, talking like
Yeah,
my mom, she's older, it's like okay, we're having conversations about AI and
yeah,
different referendums where they're saying we won't have this these days, we won't have data centers here. Well, if we don't have data centers, then you can't use AI. And
right.
there's got to be a way that you have to do it so that you're not tapping into natural resources, that you're
Yeah.
not using electricity and passing it on to the consumer. But you
Hmm.
have to be a part of the conversation
Hmm.
in order to make the change because
Definitely.
it's already here.
Yes, there is a data center going up fairly close to where we live, and of course, I have concerns. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if a paper mill went up next to where I live,
Right.
I'd have concerns. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter what
Mm-mm.
what is being processed there. It matters that it's taking energy. It could be potentially polluting the environment, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. But as I deep dove a little bit more into the technology of this specific center, which would be brand new, and so they would be
Mm-hmm.
using the most recent technology, the technology is using a lot less than
Yes.
what I had expected it
Right.
to be using, which is definitely a positive thing. But I think these data centers are just going to get better and better and better
Mm-hmm.
at being able to use a smaller amount of water and also energy in those surrounding areas. And I think we have to be really cognizant of what kind of technology is at each data center because not
Right.
all data centers are
The
equivalent.
same. Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. So just, and I love that you said, okay, I'm going to have one, in my area, but then you did the research.
Yeah.
You were like, okay, what is going to be here? What is going to be the effect on the environment?
Yeah.
And so being an informed stakeholder,
Yeah.
just knowing then you can share that with someone or,
Mhm.
have those conversations because believe it or not, we do need that to be part of our infrastructure, but it's like we have to be responsible when we do use it.
Yes. And that's
'Cause,
another thing that a topic that came up this week because we're back to school this week too.
mhm.
And just discussing when to choose to use AI and when to
Yes,
choose not to use it,
we
right?
had that conversation as well. Yes, go ahead. What was the
So, and this was
consensus?
just between teachers,
Right.
honestly, like when we were
Hmm.
at our in teacher meetings talking about, okay, well, I don't want to do cognitive offloading because I don't want my students to do that either. So
Right.
there's certain things where, yes, I can write that email. It's not going to take me that much time to write the email.
Hmm.
Especially if it's a pretty quick reply. I don't need it necessarily to come up with my grocery list. Like I know what groceries I need, but it can be helpful if you're
Hmm.
not sure
Hmm.
and you're not part of that system
Hmm.
of like making dinners and things like that. And
Hmm.
honestly, my husband is much better at that than I am. So he's
Hmm.
usually the one putting
Right.
together the grocery list.
That's
I'll just
nice.
throw things on there that I notice that I need.
Right. That's great.
But that's the thing is like deciding when it's okay, when it's not okay. And if you
Hmm.
are going to use it, and it comes up with like, let's say you wanted to make a something I was doing this week was making a cartoon image of Jimothy. Okay.
Oh, yay. We got to
Cartoon
talk
image
about
of
Timothy's
Jimothy.
tea.
We have to talk about Jimothy. And I was like, at what point do I decide
Hmm.
I've used enough energy? I'm not
Hmm.
going to do this anymore.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to do instead is manipulate the one that it gave me, like putting it into Canva and begin to
Yes.
make
Using
tweaks
the
on my own.
layers. Yeah, and
Yes,
tweaking it.
using
Yes.
Right. I have
Mm-hmm.
Photoshop. I know how to do
Mm-hmm.
these things. So it
Mm-hmm.
could make like a rough draft for me. And I don't have to keep on reprompting and reprompting because it's never
Mm-hmm.
going to make exactly what you want to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Because you know what you
the
want.
yeah, the one it made was cute. And I was
Oh,
like, okay, I'm glad I did get one. But I could have gone on to reprompt if I really wanted to perfect it over and over again. And I just was like, that's not really responsible. And let me put it in and use those skills that I have in Photoshop or Canva
right.
or whatever, because it's important to have those. You want to have the control of that. That's
And
one of those things.
I'm looking through my papers because they talked about how much energy it takes in order for you to use AI. And it's like, that's a lot. So I'm looking through
It
my,
feels like a good amount. So I've lessened the making
mm-hmm.
images. I'm using it more text-based because you get more for your money, kind of, if you will.
That's good. Yes.
But also deciding on when it's appropriate to use it, when it's not, and kind of like when you leave, you leave your house, you turn off all your lights, right? Before you leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you don't want energy consumption to continue, right?
That is correct.
So
So
in
I'm looking around.
videos are even worse, right? So you've got text
Wow.
being the least, pictures being a little bit more. Videos are crazy how much it eats up the energy. So I
Wow.
don't really make videos much anymore after some of the reading that I had done. Because this is that's one thing a lot of people hadn't talked about like 2 years ago was how much energy actually was being used in
Mm-hmm.
some of these things. And now we have a lot more data and more
Right.
precise data to be able to look at.
And so that's good. Just what do you need to off cognitively offload and what do you not? And
Yes.
so even as adults, we were talking before because we were both going back to school. So just
Uh,
leading into that, it's like, okay, I can put this in, we can summarize and we can go through everything. But I think we came to the conclusion last time we talked that it's so much easier for us to go back to pencil paper, to highlight, to underline, and
yep.
just make that connection with
Oh my
the,
God.
yeah,
Always got my
paper
notebook.
everywhere. But just to make that connection with the text and what you're doing,
Yeah.
you're more like we tell kids all the time. If you write notes, you highlight, you underline, you have your task or all these things we've been telling kids for years.
hmm
And then in a couple of years, it's just completely, I'll just do it all online. I'll just do it all online. It's like,
Yeah. And clicking things just doesn't
it's
have the
not the same.
same processing in your
Mm-mm.
brain
No, absolutely
like
not.
writing it down. Yeah.
Agreed.
We send our students guided notes for math so that they can actually write down their notes
Yes.
and with paper, pencil, or pen, and that I think has started to shift and help the students. And a lot of them will say, I'm so glad to have paper because there was a shift to everything is online. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that the kids should have a tangible book. I think they do
Right.
need, and
Mm-hmm.
especially the parents. The parents love to have the textbook because that's how they grew
Learn.
up learning,
Right.
right? You
Mm-hmm.
reference the textbook. It is a lot easier sometimes to reference the textbook than it is to try to find in the lessons where that information was if
Right.
there's not a search bar that is
You're
easy to
slowing
find.
it down so you can hear it again. And it's a lot. So we did the same thing and started just going through and just printing at least the PDFs that go along
Yeah.
with the lesson. So they
Yes,
still have a book online, but if there's any, thing where they have to complete or fill in the blank, then we send that home with them.
that's great.
So they can just take a picture with their device and then they can turn it in.
Yes, yes. And
So,
that's another thing is
mm-hmm,
we're doing the training of how to get a picture and put it into the system easily
mm-hmm,
through whatever they're using. And I know there's so many different ways to snap a picture that's not necessarily with your phone. You've got the iPads, you've got
mm-hmm.
your webcams. There's a lot of different ways. So just trying to make it a standard. Here's in general how you
Mm-hmm.
do it
Mm-hmm.
to get it in there. So I mean that alone is a skill, honestly. They need to be able to navigate
Yes,
adding and
definitely.
uploading
Mm-hmm.
something, which the younger kids have a more difficult time than the older kids do usually.
Right, absolutely. But that training, like you said, being a virtual student is not easy because there's a lot that goes along with that.
There really is,
And
yeah.
so when they get older, like you said, even for the younger kids, once they, as they progress and they stay in the program, they're more likely to be successful because they've had that time with
Hmm.
learning how to manage, their time, attend the meetings, ask for help. They'll be much better students as they get older. So,
Definitely. I agree.
yep. Did
I
we have
don't
anybody jump on?
No, I still have no chats. Let me refresh and just see if there's anything. Um,
Did you have anybody register?
no. And I think it's very like this is all very new. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I gotta be honest though, I'm kind of okay with having like not a lot of people right here right now because I think what's going to be great is that we can take this recording and we can make snippets and
Okay.
be able to share that
Mhm.
because I think what I need to do because I don't have as many followers subscribers, I forget what they're called on YouTube, subscribers. I don't have as
Mhm.
many subscribers on YouTube, but on TikTok I don't know, I feel like I have a lot more followers over there. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's way more than YouTube. YouTube is like 200, I think. YouTube.
It's like we just have to move them this way.
Yeah, we just need
Yeah.
to have to start shifting because I do
Mhm.
feel like YouTube is much better for long term
Mhm.
and to be able to I don't know, it's less likely to go away. You know all the issues with
Mhm.
TikTok
You're right.
where oh it may go away, it may
Politicized and
not
all
go
the
away.
things. Yeah,
I like the
absolutely.
short form though. I like to be able to short form and go through
Mhm.
videos quicker on although there are shorts on YouTube now and you
Yeah.
can do something similar. But I think I just need to get my brain wrapped around the fact that, start recording on YouTube. TikTok, I am very used to knowing how to record on there and the buttons and how to refresh and all of the
Mhm.
things. I
Mhm.
just have to kind of shift myself over to YouTube and start making from scratch here because I
Mhm.
think that it sees if you are making it on something else and just uploading it, you're less likely to get as many views because the
Okay.
algorithm is like, Psh, you're not using our stuff. We're not going to
I
send it
do.
out.
I take all my videos, and so on mine it looks different because every video I make in Teams, I
Mhm.
download it and then I put it up on YouTube. So
Okay.
then that way it gives me a link for the kids. So like
Yeah.
if I put it back into our LMS and
Mhm.
it'll go straight to YouTube. So they'll always have it,
Yes.
instead of
Yes.
it going away or, like Teams will sometimes after 60 days, it doesn't work anymore. So a couple of years, and so they're private. So I'm like on
Yes.
this side. So they're probably like, you don't even use it. I use it
I
all
do.
the time.
I know.
It's just
Yes,
over here.
I have that also, like the specifically the ones that me and my team made, like the little
Mm-hmm.
asynchronous videos. We did put them all on YouTube because when we were just sharing them through Screencastify, we weren't able to do the closed captioning back then. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
do it now, but like back then they
Right.
didn't have that. So we put them all on YouTube, but it would be private
Right.
and it would be a playlist specific like to our earth science team.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is user friendly. It definitely is.
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
just need to shift my typical day-to-day thing and being
Right.
like, okay, let me
And that's what I
start
said.
with
You're always busy. I'm like, oh my gosh. I wake up and it's like, let me just post this something. I'm like, oh my gosh. If
I'm
only I could
trying.
get my
I'm
mind
trying.
wrapped around, hey, I was thinking about I'm like, and for a while there, I think I did, but it was just kind of like, okay, you got this, and this, and this to do. You're gonna add another element.
I
It
know.
just
I
became kind
know.
of I had to.
It does. It becomes a little overwhelming. And honestly, I had the summer to be able to do more and
Mm-hmm.
I focused more on creating lesson plans and that PD series that's on
And you
teachwiseai.com.
need to talk
Yeah.
about that too.
Yeah, I will
Sorry.
talk about that too. Yeah,
Mhm,
I spend a lot of time on the back end doing that, and so I was not doing social media. But the weird thing is, if you're not doing social media, you're not getting out the information. Your algorithm
mhm,
is going to start working against you.
mhm.
But you have to do the work to share something that you want to get out into the world.
I
So
need a minute to be over
yes,
here.
like I
Yeah.
just need a minute. So
Mhm,
as much as I should have done more social
mhm,
media posts during the summer, I just didn't have the time. But I will have to say, once I get back on an actual schedule, like school schedule, this past couple of weeks, I've been better at it because it's like, okay, if I'm on an actual schedule, I will do the things that I can do, right? Like
mhm,
I will schedule it out rather than during summer I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do that and maybe I'll do this and then the day
mhm,
gets away from me and I'm like, it's 8 o'clock already. I don't feel like doing anything.
mhm. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So no, I'm proud of you. So I'm
Thank you.
thankful for the resources and taking a look, and I'm going to use that Jimmy lesson with my kids. I just need to
Uh,
add that. And I almost feel like just the way that you set it up, just to give you your flowers right now, it's like the and that you don't have to be on a device is wonderful. I'm almost thinking like the sort part, like, could I use that as openers? Could I use that as just like
yeah,
questions? What do you guys think about this? And like just turn it into more like a,
a discussion base.
yeah.
I
So when
think you
they come
definitely
in,
could.
hmm
hmm And I think that if I were to do it, in which I will at some point do it in a virtual way, and I was going
hmm
to, once I actually do it virtually with my students, I was going to put it out there to be done like a virtual version. But I
hmm
was thinking using breakout rooms or using Padlet or a whiteboard
yep.
would be really beneficial for them taking and sorting all the cards
hmm
and figuring out, well, is this a source that is reliable, right? Is this a verified source?
hmm
And that's what it's all about. It's
hmm
funny because like that has been the thing that has sold the most on Teachers Pay Teachers
Oh,
and my website.
yay.
But what's funny is because people are putting into like Google search and also Teachers Pay Teachers, Jimothy. It's not because of like the digital
It's not just,
wellness
yeah,
or
that's
we
so funny.
no, we don't care about that. We care about Jimothy. Oh, Jimothy has just given
Hmm
that extra flavor
Yep.
to some lessons that we can really teach our students about
Absolutely.
digital wellness, right?
Right. hmm And
Because
just think, look at, like you said, I'm sorry,
no,
deep
no, you're good.
fakes and just different things like that that kids don't really think about.
Yeah,
So having those conversations because he's actually real. Like when I saw it on the news, I was like,
I know.
oh, is he? Is he?
Yeah,
Yeah. And they're like, no, he's been there. And like kind of the things that you shared within the lessons, that
yeah.
he's been in that neighborhood and people knew about him. And this is actually,
Mhm.
a condition that some, raccoons have and different things
Yeah,
like that. And I was like, oh, well, that, not thinking about it as a good lesson, but even as an adult, I
yeah.
question
Of
whether
course.
that was real or not.
Yeah, and I think that's how, we can start the conversation
Hmm
of is like the things that we see online. Now most of us are thinking, is that AI? Is that AI?
hmm
And there's times where we don't need to know. It doesn't matter if it's a cute little
hmm
puppy, like even
Right.
Jimothy, it doesn't really matter. But
hmm
it's nice to know how to find sources and verify information
hmm
when it really does count, when you're talking about things you're voting for as a
Yep.
citizen, when you're talking
Absolutely.
about medications that you've heard one thing about, but you're not sure. And,
Mm,
being able to protect yourself in those types of ways is really important.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the students need that lesson from a young age because they're going to grow up with this being more and more common
Mhm.
where, people say one thing, show a video, and it's not true. And then obviously with Jimothy it is. Like, well,
Yes.
luckily Jimothy is real.
Yes.
However,
Absolutely.
my science brain is like, I need to make a lesson that's about the biology of Jimothy and like his condition because we were talking about is it genetic? Is
hmm
it predisposition? Is it environmental? I haven't really done a whole lot of research on that, but I think it would be really like
But
an
that would
interesting
be
biology
a
lesson.
cross curricular
Ooh,
lesson.
I like that. I like
So
that.
you
And
could work with your other teachers and then you'd be okay, well, we're doing this in digital literacy or however you're breaking that down. And then you could do science or,
yes.
different things, get the data and how many raccoons in this area have issues with, this. And why are
Yeah.
we just now seeing it? Why is it a thing now? Right? Because we have phones and we can record it, you know.
Right.
Now
It's
they,
been around forever. There's been lots of animals that have had
right,
this, so nobody has noticed or cared
right.
to share. And you
Mm-hmm.
know how it, like, he could have been recorded years ago and someone put it online, but it just didn't make the algorithm. Once these things
Mm-mm.
make the algorithm and it gets pushed out and it goes to
Mm-hmm.
everyone,
Right.
that's really when,
Mm-hmm.
the things are seen. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I made the rules on what people see, but I do not.
That's one of the things we have to talk to the owners and the operators of the other things. Be like, they don't need to see that. They don't need
Yes.
to see
Yeah.
this because legislation is working, gearing itself towards we have no devices in school this year.
Yes,
So
yes.
in our district. So we talked about that a little bit today. And
Definitely.
they only come in 2 days a week. So they have
Okay.
I don't these little packs that disconnect the signal so they can keep the packs on them, but
Oh,
they cannot use their devices. I'm
interesting.
like, what?
Okay.
I'm
All
looking
right.
again. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking down at my phone because it's like I was like, what? What did she say that was? But I just thought it was interesting because that's half of the battle, the
Yes.
anxiety that students feel when they're
Mhm.
not able to have their device.
Yeah.
So by having this apparatus, they
Yeah.
will still be able to keep their device.
Okay.
What the?
And they won't be able to get phone calls or things like that.
Right, absolutely. It blocks the signal.
Interesting. It's kind of like being in one of those metal buildings
Mm,
that we're like, why am I
mm,
not getting a signal? Why am I
mhm.
not getting a signal?
Let's see real quick.
Interesting. So yeah, my own kids, my son's in middle school and my daughter's in high school. And yes, the schools here, they are making sure the kids do not have their phones on them. And they actually can't even have them on them during the school day like that. They have to put them in their lockers, and turn them off.
So
So
my question is, if they do that, how do they keep them safe, the phone safe? Because I think you worry about them getting stolen or taken or as
well, if
much
they're in
as
their locker, it should be safe, I guess.
Mhm,
I mean, hopefully nobody else knows their code and hopefully they're, you
mhm.
know,
It's
um,
called a Faraday bag, Faraday. It's a signal blocking pouch.
interesting.
Faraday bag. It blocks all wireless signals to and from a cell phone. They use an internal magnetic mesh or conductive RF shielding fabric to create the cage that it's in. And our principal
Huh.
said that it was developed by military people.
Okay.
So when they go from place to place and they have to block their signals to keep them safe. So those people came up with this technology to keep um,
Interesting. Interesting. That's,
so we'll see.
I
I'll
think
have to
we'll
let
see a
you
lot
know.
more schools doing that.
Well, I'll let you know how it works when they come in. So it's going to be interesting because virtual, we could have, and she said this today, we could have 1,000 kids want to become virtual students
Mhm.
so that they can have access to their phone. Because if they come in, for the 2 days and feel like, oh, well, we don't have to follow the rules. No, it is a state policy,
It
not just
is.
a board policy.
Yeah.
Then we have to have something for them. So it'll be interesting to
That
see.
should be.
You can get them at
Yeah.
Walmart. Look, it's like Walmart has them on their
I
on their
didn't realize
website.
that. So,
hmm
okay, so does the school provide them or do the parents have to provide them?
The school. So
The
she
school does
purchased,
provide them. Okay.
yes. So when they come in, they'll put it in the pack. They can keep it on them. I don't know if they'll have like a little lanyard or like a little, crossbody thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll keep you updated because that's just
Yeah.
I had never heard of it before because I'm thinking, like how we have our calculators. Remember back in the day, you have your
Yes.
calculators numbered and then you
Yes.
had them on the wall. And it's
hmm
like, no, that's not going to work because then everybody's, phone's going to be going off, and
Mhm.
then people will grab their phone during, when you're doing rotations. And so I don't know how it will look in person, but I was really excited that they had a plan
Yes.
for, for
It's nice
kids
to have
to
a
come
plan.
in.
It's nice to have a plan. And that's one thing going into
Hmm.
this is making it very clear to students,
Hmm.
not just the rules of school in general, but that, hey, we have a plan. We are ready for this. We are prepared.
Hmm.
And here are the strategies that we're using. And that's with AI too, right?
Hmm.
Letting students
Absolutely.
know, hey, the majority of things you're not going to be able to use AI on. Like in general, the main rule is you're not going to use AI unless I give you explicit instructions to use AI.
Right.
And a lot of teachers are using the traffic light option where, you
Hmm.
know, the red light, if there's a red signal on their intro page or on their assessment or whatever, it means there should be no AI use at all.
Okay.
A, a yellow light would mean that there are some versions of AIU. So maybe it's for brainstorming, maybe it's for feedback after you've
Hmm.
written the essay, maybe whatever it is, creativity wise, maybe you're able to use it to create a cartoon or something. But it's like yellow, and it would be very specific in the directions how they are allowed to use AI. And then the green light would, or the green signal would indicate that they can use AI in any way they want to,
Hmm.
which that would be more of an exploratory type of
Right.
assessment.
Hmm.
You're not assessing students on how well they use AI in most classes, right? You're
Mm-mm.
assessing them on the actual content, but that might be more of a, hey, let's see what AI can do. Let's look and see how many hallucinations it has. Can you pick out the bias?
Hmm.
Can you figure out where it got things wrong? Did it sound like you?
Hmm.
Is this something you'd be proud to hand in? I think talking about lessons more like that, where yeah,
Right.
green light for the AI because we're like learning about AI and the good, the
Hmm.
bad, and the ugly. That
Right.
would be the only time that I could see really a green light being
Hmm.
a possibility.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
that maybe they start out that way, like at the beginning of the year, and just let them know that it is something. Like, we know you're going to go home and you'll be tempted to look at it this way. But what I would like for you to do first
Hmm.
is to, create your rough draft, get your ideas down on paper, think about which way you want to go with the information, beginning, middle, end. You should have this and this and this
Yeah.
before, you delve into this.
Yes.
And so just having that direction, I think, is really important. I hadn't heard of the red light, the red, yellow, green.
Yeah, Carly Dello, she
Okay.
is an AI strategist up at Michigan Virtual,
Okay.
and she was the one that I had heard it from. And of course, there's different opinions about it.
Right.
Like, is it too
Mm-hmm.
simplified? But at least it gives some kind of signal to
Mm-hmm.
deal with the world of AI, right? Like that
Right.
we're at least showing that we're aware that AI is going might be used for these things
Mm-hmm.
and not just sticking our head in the sand and
Mm-hmm.
hoping it goes away because it's not
Mm-hmm.
going
It's
away.
not going away.
Where
So absolutely.
I saw a bumper sticker at our in-person meeting where it said something like anti-AI. And I'm like, I mean, people do love to put their opinions on the
Their
back of their
bumper
cars,
sticker.
and I've never understood why. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter whether it's political, whether it's I just
I
am kind of
break
like,
for bunnies.
right,
I
break for
break for
bunny, right.
Jimothy. Somebody needs to make that make that
I mean, I can
bumper
understand if you're
sticker.
in a club or something, you want to show
Mm-hmm.
you're in this club or you're
Mm-hmm.
part of this team or whatever. But I just always found it funny that you got to put your opinion. Is that going to change anyone's mind? Is that going to get, I don't know.
That just makes people drive past you and go, real. No.
Right.
You're driving.
Are they anti-Al? Who's Al?
I heard somebody say that the other day. Who's Al? Who's that? I think it was a show. And they're like, Dad, it's AI. You
Yes,
know, that's
yes,
too
it is.
funny.
It's the
But
goat.
when I was at the training in New York, one of the guys had said that. He was like, I came here,
Yeah,
really bothered about AI, saying that, I don't want it. I don't want it in my schools. I don't want kids to use it. And
yeah,
he said, once I we talked about the guardrails, once we
Mm.
talked about how we should be approaching AI, and by not doing so, how it's going to affect our students. And
Yeah.
he's like, I feel a lot better about it. And I was like, that's one, that's just one person. And
Yeah.
if we all have that conversation with different people, just as you alluded to before about, the data center that's, coming in your area, you did the research,
Yes.
you had the conversation. And so
Yeah.
it makes you an informed user
Mm.
instead of going, by, I hate to say fear mongering, but it's like,
It kind
if I
of
can,
is, and it can be, and
yeah. So I'm just like, I'm not
fear.
going to do anything because it's going to take our jobs. It's going to do this, it's going to
Yeah.
do that. And it's like, they really can't. Like it's,
Right.
and you did the TikTok about the, about the robot in the room. It's like they have
I
been
had
around
to. I had
kindergartners
to.
before. Yeah. So it's,
Well, what's funny is they're not bringing that robot in anymore. I guess there was enough pushback from parents saying, where are the safety guardrails?
mm-hmm,
And they didn't have great answers.
they
And
don't.
it wasn't being used with the younger kids. And I get it. The fear mongering was being pushed there too. And
Mm-hmm.
I was making fun of it just
Right.
as a fear
It was
mongering
good.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was supposed to be used in a robotics class for 11th and 12th graders. Okay, that seems
Okay.
like
Mm-hmm.
a better idea, right? That it's going to be in a STEM classroom. And however, the actual program that it uses, the AI component of it,
Mm-hmm.
was not really created for education. So they didn't have the guardrails on it, or at least not enough yet to
Mm-hmm.
where they were like, oh, maybe we need to take a step back and really dive deeper into FERPA, COPA, and all of the
Yeah,
things.
that's right.
And
Absolutely.
then move on from there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I mean, I don't the company that made these has a sister company that makes some for different purposes that I there's a lot of yeah. So that was another thing that was an issue was
That's
where
horrible.
did these stem from to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
How were they created to begin with? For what purpose? And now we're trying to switch up the purpose to make more money. No, no, like
And
not
that's
that.
how that's how the fact that it switched so fast. Like you said, the sister company, oh, well, you can put it with kids and just,
Yeah,
no,
let's
they
just
don't
use
need,
this in other ways
no,
too.
they don't need help.
No,
Yeah, they don't need
no,
help. So
please,
that's
please.
horrible. But the
Yeah,
thing is, when you start having the conversations, when it's like that's very far-fetched, and then when you dig deeper and you're like,
that's not what
no,
it's about.
absolutely not.
Right.
But and those are 11th and 12th graders. Think
Mhm.
about, the smaller kids. And
Yeah,
you're using the acronym where you're talking about FERPA and COPA and all the things. A lot of people don't even know that. And
right.
so just
Yes.
there's so much there, I feel like, that we just use technology in a way that's just comfortable for us. And then we're like,
Yeah.
well, it's got to be okay for kids too. It's got to be okay. Well, our
Right, because
algorithms, mm,
yeah,
it's okay for
I'm
me.
using it for the ways that I think are ethical and appropriate, right? But
No.
not all kids have that life experience that we
Mm,
have and understand that,
mm,
you shouldn't be telling secrets to the AI, to ChatGPT, and using it as your therapist or using it as your friend or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever it is. Let's not have
mm.
relationships with inanimate objects.
Right. And they don't get it. Well, and
Right.
then what was it last year around Christmas? There was a lot of gifts that had AI in it.
Oh
And it
my
was
God.
just like, so just
Did you see the Barbie?
no, I didn't.
It was it was like 2 to 3 years ago. And it came out and I was like, what? No, this is not. I mean, we want our students to play or our kids to play, right?
Right.
And dolls are part of their play and they're
Yeah.
gonna make them talk and they're good. Now, if AI takes that away from them, then how are they gonna learn how to play? Like, and I'm sorry, a doll talking to me is just creepy. I had a Teddy Ruxpin and that thing creeped me out, okay?
Yes. Yeah, I never had one, but it was just like he's okay, yeah, he's cute. And then we turn him into a cartoon, like all the things. I'm a Muppet kid, so like Jim
Yeah.
Henson and
Oh, yeah.
all the things. So yeah, I'm like puppets, maybe,
Right.
but robots?
Robot
Oh,
kind of, it's
mm,
gotten a little too far.
yeah,
Because at
exactly.
least with the puppet, it's still a human hand.
Right, you know that somebody's in there manipulating it and making
Yeah.
it do what it does, but this one is just like on a whole nother
Mhm.
level.
Yeah.
So let's be safe out there. You know, I always think about Hill Street Blues when they say just be safe out there.
That's just right.
Whatever.
That's exactly how we got to do it. Definitely.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
oh, this was wonderful. I am so glad that we were able to get together and
Right,
discuss. We had a lot to discuss. And I know that you created that wonderful document where we put all of our resources
right. We've
and
got
you
stuff
can
to
find it.
add.
What's up?
I said I feel like we have stuff to add.
Yes, we do. We do. We
Mm-hmm.
have stuff to add from
Mm-hmm.
this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
add some ISTE stuff, you add some AFT stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then any of the other things that you think of as we talked a lot about a lot of things here.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I got to
It's
go
like,
back to the
how do you
recording.
go back and snip all that? It's like, well, it was a whirlwind of a podcast today. We haven't met for a little while, so it was just like, what are you doing? I don't know. What are you doing? Or just
It's great. I love
so
talking to you always,
right.
always.
You
We
too. You
could talk
too.
for way more than an hour. I know we could.
Yes. So just getting our new format underway, you guys, and just trying to figure out how it works. And so I thank Arisa for allowing us to use her YouTube and our Zoom, and
Yeah.
we'll figure it out and get it set up and start posting more. And I pledge to the ed tech community that I will start posting a lot more. I just feel like there's so much I take in so much
Hmm.
that it's like, how do you get it out there in like 30, 10, whatever? And so like I listened to you say you try to get organized and like what you put down and then kind of go from there. And I was like, okay, I'll try to get better.
Yeah, even
Be-
just like a simple topic, something that you don't even think like
mhm, mhm,
is that big of a deal, it's still
mhm,
worth talking about because it is a small part of the
mhm.
much bigger pie, right? So
Right.
just think about those small little things
Mhm.
and kind of going from there. I've found that anything under 2 minutes usually is
Okay.
watched. Once I
Mhm.
get over 2 minutes for, of course, like TikTok and like the smaller
Mhm.
the social media ones, it tends to not be watched as much. So if you can
Mhm.
keep it under t 2 minutes, that's probably going to be your best
I
bet.
did good with just walking and putting don't forget about your digital literacy stuff, that I put when I came back from New York cuz
Yes.
I
Yes.
was like I'm going to be a common sense ambassador again this year. And so they're doing a lot of changes with that. But I'm just like, teachers, this is something that you have, something just simple, just something quick that you
Yeah.
can add in there and it doesn't cost you anything and it's already made. And so just thinking
Exactly.
about how they can pull that in because that's a huge part of it too. Once we are intentional
Yeah.
about creating that time and
Hmm.
the resources are already there, it's a lot simpler, I feel like, than
I
people
agree.
realize.
I agree,
Yeah.
definitely.
And your
And I
resources too, we did not talk.
Oh, what? Well, I talked a little bit about it just on
Okay.
teachwiseai.com. Feel free
Yes.
to jump in there, click
Mm-hmm.
on teacher resources. That's a whole different part of my website than it was before. I
Okay.
did a lot of work on it after attending ISTE. It kind of got me thinking about what do teachers really need right now? And
Mm-hmm.
so I put together the PD series, which is 15-minute lessons
Mm-hmm.
on the things that I feel like are the most important parts. There's lots of important parts of
Mm-hmm.
AI, but like, what do we really need to know the most right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then the lessons for students. And I'm really continuing to focus on those lessons for students and post
Mm-hmm.
them on TeachWise AI as well as Teachers Pay Teachers. So I go back and forth between the two.
Mm-hmm.
There's some free resources and then there are paid for resources,
Mm-hmm.
but just because I got to pay for my website and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
trying to pay
Mm-hmm.
for the Zoom, and like all the things when you own a business end up
Right.
costing
Absolutely.
a little bit of money. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna to be like, oh, this teacher should buy this lesson for $100. Like that's never gonna be me. But
Right.
there's
Absolutely.
things are under $10 always.
Mm-hmm.
But that all my resources are there and I'll just keep on adding more. There were a lot of elementary teachers, and yes, I say it funny.
Oh my gosh. No,
It's
I was
like
like, that's
upstate New
perfect. And I
York.
look at it and I was like, it is elementary. Why do we say elementary?
I
But
know.
I was like, oh, it's
It's
perfect.
It's so funny that like I just upstate New York, we all say it that way, so I don't even hear it. It's hilarious. Anyways, I'm in the South now, so like everyone hears it now.
Elementary, or we
Elementary,
say kindergarten. It's like if you
kindergarten.
say kindergarten one more time, and I was like, in the kinder, no, it's kindergarten. And I was like, oh, sorry.
That's right. I know, I know. So there were some teachers who were like, "Do you have this?" Because I made it for sixth through eighth grade first, then
Hmm.
ninth through 12th. And then I was getting asked, "Can we do this also?" And I'm like, "Of course the littles can do it. There's no
Yes.
tech involved." And
Hmm.
it would, kindergarten through second, it's more conversational. They're
Hmm.
talking through it. Third through fifth, you do have the little cards, but
Right.
it's their literacy level. It's not the sixth
Right.
through eighth, and then
Hmm.
ninth through 12th grade. And AI with Aileen. So Aileen from the EduGuardians, Aileen Wallace, and I collaborated on
Hmm.
putting together a Jimothy 3D printing design lesson too. And that is completely free because she and I worked on it
I
together.
love
We had so much
that.
fun. And I don't have a 3D printer, but she did, and she created the Jimothy like the
Is he
little
a little one or is he like a big one? Is he
like
like,
it's like this big.
oh my gosh.
And
And
it's
we have a
just,
3D
oh look, it's
printer in my
a bird. Okay.
school.
Yes. So it's the just the silhouette kind of,
Hmm.
but we go through in the lesson, and again, free on both Pay Teachers and Teachwise AI. You go through step by step the design process and prompt engineering. So really the
Okay.
students are learning about prompt engineering, and we're having the students go through it with the teacher showing the prompting so that the students
Hmm.
don't have to have an AI chatbot to do this if they
Hmm.
don't have it. They certainly can adjust that, but now that teachers can have Claude or Gemini or
Hmm.
ChatGPT, they all have
Hmm.
educational options now.
Right.
It's likely that the teacher has one of those at least.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, so that's another thing we did.
That
And
sounds
that's
great. I want to do that one because I'm
you
like, we have a
should.
3D printer at our school. So I'm like,
Oh my
oh,
gosh, let me know if you do it because I want to see how it came out.
I'm gonna
I
make
had
sure.
created one and did I forget what the file is called, but I did the manipulating. I
Hmm.
wasn't able to actually print it because I don't have a printer, but I did the manipulating and I had to reprompt
Wow.
a few times because it was making some weird thing. I did eventually get it to look like the Jimmy the raccoon,
He
but
is
like
just so cute and he's worth
Aileen has a lot
making.
more experience though than I do with
She is great. I
the
really like her a lot.
she is amazing. So yes, thank you for letting me like talk about that
No, and we
on and
need to know
on.
because you're taking the time to put that information out and then just resources that teachers can use because that's half the battle. And I think that's what we're talking about in this podcast is like, okay, I have to deal with behaviors, I have to deal with curriculum, I have to deal, with my own life, my own mental health, which you should.
Yes,
As teachers, please make
definitely.
sure that you take care of yourself. You don't need to be up all night doing
Right.
all the things. Use
Yeah.
AI to help you to, lesson plan or create an assessment. And we talked about that a little bit earlier, but
Yeah.
also just giving you resources that you can use when
Yeah.
there's resources everywhere. You said it's the over like 80% of what was presented. It was like, hey, do with
Yep.
AI, AI.
All the AI things.
But that can be overwhelming too,
Right.
because that is another thing that
Yes.
you have to learn, that you have to, think about the guardrails. Is it going to keep my students' information safe? Is it, what happens after, the information goes in? Do I get the data back? Am I, if it's free, then they're watching me. It's like
Yeah. I
it's just
like that. If they're free, if it's free, then they're watching me. I like that. Very
so
nice.
I typed that in one girl's thing. She's like, my professor gave me and I was like, if it's free, they're watching me, just reminding people, as you're going through and just helping teachers save time. But then when you have too many options, it becomes overwhelming.
Yes, I
So I
agree.
think just
Keep it
kind of
simple.
streamlining and having these conversations, no
Mhm.
matter how erratic we may be sometimes. We're just, but the way we're looking at it is just like we're in the communities kind of navigating different
Mhm.
spaces, and we know how important it is, but ultimately the teacher voice is so important. You do what's best for you and your students, and you know what their needs are.
Yep.
You've been entrusted with them, you have the information with them, and just using, okay, how can AI help me to meet the needs of my student? And that's what
Yeah,
it's all about.
it really
But
is.
you're in the driver's seat. AI is
Yes,
not.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. I love that. I think that is like the best note to leave on. That right there.
Yeah,